Hello and welcome to the universe of Bayer watches and jewelry, where the past meets the future. Being the oldest watch retailer in the world, we started in 1760 and are privately owned in the same family in the 8th generation, with René Bayer at the top. We connect people of all kinds of interests due to our fantastic watch museum, our more than 50 years experience with vintage watches, and our modern collection of some of the world's best known brands such as Patek Philippe, Rolex and many others, but also our handmade jewelry. In front of us today we have the Rolex Oyster Quartz Day-Date reference 19018 with a special wooden dial. Rolex was founded by the German Hans Wilsdorf. At the age of 24, he founded a company selling watches based in London. Already then he was ahead of his time as he pushed the timepieces from the pockets onto the wrist. The trademark Rolex was registered in 1908. As he wanted very precise movements in small cases, he chose to have his movements tested at chronometer test centers. In 1919, he moved to Geneva, the international center of watchmaking at that time. Later innovations were the Oyster, the water-resistant watch, and the Perpetual, the self-winding mechanism. Bayer started to be the exclusive retailer of Rolex watches in the canton of Zurich in 1932. Rolex experimented with electronic timekeeping already in the early 1950s. In 1970, Rolex and other Swiss brands jointly developed the first Swiss quartz movement, the Beta 21. And in the late 1970s, Rolex introduced their own Oyster Quartz. The dial is a very interesting material. It's a wooden dial made of burl wood. The roots of certain trees are snarled, creating this very particular swirls and areas of lighter and darker brown color. As with many stone and mother-of-pearl dials, here too each dial is unique as it's made of a different slice of the base material. Rolex started experimenting with these rare wooden dials in the early 1970s. They are mainly found on day-dates that were also equipped with the stellar or lacquered dials and stone dials in the 1970s and 80s. The hour markers are indices applied on the dial. In between we find the minutes printed with fine lines in gold. As it is typical for a day-date, the day can be seen at 12 in English and the date at 3 o'clock. Below the day window is the Rolex logo and below it the Rolex, Oyster Quartz and Day-Date printed in golden lettering. Superlative, chronometer and officially certified is written above 6 o'clock, whereas below 6 we can find the T Swiss T. The T always refers to tritium, the kind of lumen that was used at the time on dials and hands. On our watch it's only on the hands, no luminous dots are on the dial. Additionally, there is also a fine central seconds hand. The case is typical for the 1970s, it's big and bulky with an integrated band. The material is 18 karat yellow gold, and as you cannot take off the bracelet to find the reference and serial numbers, these had to be printed on the case back. The case itself measures 35.5 times 42 millimeters and the bracelet has an inner length of 16 centimeters. The bezel is fluted. The front of the case and the outer links of the bracelet are brushed and the middle links are polished. Ticking inside is the caliber 50-55. It is a very accurate movement with a power reserve as long as the battery lasts. To set the day and date is easy. As it is normal with Rolex, in the neutral position the crown is closed and secures the case and the movement from water, humidity and dust. Unscrew the crown and you have it moved to the first position, where in a quartz movement nothing happens. In position 2 the date is corrected when you turn the crown counterclockwise. Pulled out all the way in position 3, the day can be set going over midnight. Once the date and the day are set, you have the same position to set the actual time. In this last position, the constant second is stopped, enabling you to set the time to the correct second. During its last visit to the Rolex manufacturer, the movement was serviced and the whole watch certified. That means it has its CPO seal and is officially a Rolex certified pre-owned watch. Quartz watches were not collectible items for a long time due to the mechanism inside. However, this has changed in the recent years. More and more people realize how beautiful and unique these watches and the movements are. And looking at this one in particular, we find a rare day-date model in full gold with this extraordinary lovely dial. Being passionate about watches also means that we take great care of timepieces even after they have been bought. We are an official Rolex service center, but also service the other brands we carry. Apart from that, we also have beautiful jewelry made by our goldsmiths. We have a big assortment of older and more modern pre-loved watches, and I encourage you to visit our website or Bayer Vintage on Instagram. And thank you so much for watching.